Hey GISers, it's Angela. How are you? Listen, you've never seen me here before. Well, this is our lab here at Clackamas Community College at the Oregon City campus. And GIS here is housed with wildland fire and emergency management. So you can come here. I'd love to ever meet you here at the Claremont lab. And as I was able today to meet with a few students. So I hope your summer is going really well. And I encourage you to reach out to me anytime. I'm really here waiting to talk to all of you, either online, through the phone, or in person. So I know it's busy summer and these days are just absolutely beautiful. So the purpose of this video is to guide you Module 7 and into our final exam. Now, Module 7 is currently what we're on. And in Module 7, we're being asked to create our own map. So previous to this, there's been the data, and we've changed data, we've added data, and we've done things to our maps, right? Now what I'm doing is I'm asking you to create your own map. You're like, well, what kind of a map does she want? It's really not up to me. I want a map that adequately communicates something that you're curious about, something that you're interested in, either in a hobby, your field of study, or the field of study that you want to be involved in. Does it have to be academic? Does it have to be work related? Absolutely not. Could it be about rafting? Are you into kayaking? Maybe animals, wildlife. Maybe you're into quilting and the arts, right? Into some sort of skills. Are you into just backpacking, or do you like driving around like I do? I love road tripping. It's my favorite. Perhaps maybe some physical features. Are you into something that has to do with language or belief systems, something like that, either in a regional and national or a global level? This map can also be, right, Portland Metro based, it can be Oregon based, it can be Pac Northwest, it can be Western United States, national at the United States level, it can be regional North America, it can be Western Hemisphere, it can also be global, right? This could also be like, hey, I want to track hurricanes, right? That map would showcase the southeastern United States and the Caribbean as well. So this map is really all up to you. And you're like, great, I've got so many ideas. Now, how do I make this map? Well, we get our data. And where do we get that data from? And I'm going to show you how we do that. First and foremost, we get that data in a few ways. The first way that we can do that is by going onto ArcGIS Online. So go ahead and go to arcgis.com, sign in, and you're going to go to Map, and it's going to open you into Map Viewer Classic. You can make your map in Map Viewer or Map Viewer Classic, whichever one you've become comfortable in. We started in Map Viewer Classic, and we did an assignment in Map Viewer. So I tried to give you a little bit of both to see which one you like best. So for right now, I'm going to be working in Map Viewer Classic. Doesn't mean you have to. Now, I know in Smart Mapping, we're asked to look at a base map. Now, the base map that ArcGIS Online provides here for us is not my favorite. And I'm a geographer and I love maps. And this one is just not my favorite. So you're like, does it really matter that much? I mean, to me, it does. So the base map that I really like starting off from, and I'm going to tell you why, is because I like the terrain and the labels. First and foremost, I really like the terrain on these maps. It gives us an idea of what the elevation, the terrain looks like on a map in a very physical way. Also, I really like the labels and the way that the symbology works on these maps, on this particular base map, excuse me. We've got city names, we've got river names, national forest. We also have physical features as well as human transportation systems. I just, I like this one. All right, now it comes time to adding the data. Well, what do you feel like adding in? Well, it's completely up to you. But I come to here, I come to add, and I'm going to come to search for layers. Now, first you're going to see here my content. We're not going to want to search from my content. That is unless you have a lot of data or you have content in there that you want to utilize. Most of us just starting in GIS, like even in this account, I don't really have that much content on here that I would want to pull from. What we want to search from is all of the data available in ArcGIS Online. So you're going to click and scroll all the way down to, yeah, I want to search all the available in ArcGIS Online. Amazing, right? I've been really curious lately about hazelnut production. And so I click on hazelnuts and I'm going to go ahead and search that. And I see a file here on hazelnuts in the continent of Africa. And if I scroll down, here's hazelnuts, American hazelnut. So let's click on that. It's a tile layer. So this is not going to be a shape file. And remember, our shape files are points, lines, and polygons. And remember, our shape files are always associated with some sort of data. So like a data table, an attribute table. This is not going to have that. And the reason why I'm like, well, Angela, why are you showing me this? Because if you're looking up data on ArcGIS Online, you're going to find some files that aren't shape files. And I just want you to know this is one of them. This is an example of one of them. You're like, well, this looks pretty good to me. Yeah, it does. It looks fabulous. So we've added this. We're going to back up. We're going to click on content. All right, what are we looking at? So this layer is turned on. Yes, it's turned on. And what is this layer? Well, now when we hover over it, we know right away. We're not having any symbology availability to come up. There's no attribute table here that's popped up. All we get are options. And that's it. So for that reason, we know, yeah, this is a TIFF file. A TIFF file means it's a tagged image. So it's kind of like a JPEG where it's a bunch of information that's laying on top like a tile, right? A tile, when you tile the floor, comes in and it goes on top of something. There's no data associated with this file. So for example, if I went and clicked on this little point here, nothing's popping up. This is a TIFF file. This is not a data file. It's not a shape file, right? Usually in our shape files, points, lines, and polygons, we click on it and some sort of data or attribute table, something is going to pop up to say, this point associates with this piece of data. This is a TIFF file, so it doesn't exist. It's like someone took a giant photo and plopped it right on top of our base map. TIFF files are different than JPEGs. They're more detail oriented. They're higher pixelated. And they have the ability to just store a lot of information. So although this is super duper, let's take a look at the legend so we get an idea of what some of these fun colors are. I'm not loving the legend. It should be the other way around. Kelly green means very high suitability for growing hazelnuts, and red means very low. So it is informational. It is helpful. However, this is not a shape file. So let's go ahead and let's say goodbye for now. Okay. Another fun place that I do enjoy getting information from, if you're curious about making a map about Oregon, is Oregon Spatial Data Library. Now, most of the information you're going to find here are shape files. So when you do load them into AGOL Online, they will be shape files. They won't be TIFF files. Some of them are, but majority of them are shape files. You're like, okay, great. Now, I'm looking for something a little bit different. All right, well, lately with some of the summer movies that have been out, I become very curious. I travel a lot. I really enjoy traveling. And I thought to myself, okay, lots of places that I visit have Japanese gardens. So I became curious about, there are a lot of Japanese gardens globally, worldwide. And I realized that there are over 300, oops, there are over 300 Japanese gardens in North America alone. This is pretty significant. You're like, well, Angela, they're already mapped here, right? And the North American Japanese Garden Association is located here in the greater Portland metropolitan area. Well, first and foremost, this is a Google map, and this is not my favorite map. I don't know about you guys. It is informational, though it is helpful, and it is on a Google map, but we're in a GIS class, and I want to see this in a GIS map because I want to be able to put this in AGOL online and share it with other people. Okay. So what I did was I went and I found a list of the Japanese gardens in North America, and I picked the first three. And you're like, there's no street address. Well, that's fine. That's okay. And I went ahead and I loaded them into an Excel spreadsheet. And you're like, well, how am I going to do this? Well, what we can do in AGOL is we can actually import what we call CSV files. This just means a comma separated file or a comma delineated file. And you can create this really easily. You can go into a text file or some sort of a spreadsheet and you create a few field names. The field names are based at the top here. So I've got object ID you could say number, you could say whatever word you wanted. 1, 2, 3. This is so that we can identify each point, right? Because we're talking about Japanese gardens. These are locations, these are points. These aren't lines and they're not polygons. You can number polygons. We have a name, a city, and a state. The name of the garden, the city, and the state. Now, let's say, for example, that you're out and you're working with pipes or plumbing, some sort of water, and you're like, well, this doesn't have an address associated with it. Well, instead of city and state, or instead of street address, you would put latitude and longitude. And you do that with your handheld GPS. Our phones are handheld GPS, have the ability to do that and give us lat long. So you'd say latitude, longitude, and that'll map this for you. Same way. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and go into back in here, and we're going to click add again. We're going to click add layer from file. And see, you can add a shapefile, CSV. We're going to say choose file. And we're going to choose Japanese Garden 2 CSV. We're going to open it. We're going to import it. And it's going to ask us, do you want to locate the features by coordinates or address? Well, we're locating ours by address. Now, say you were locating by using latitude and longitude. If you're out in the field, then you would click coordinates if you were using lat and long. So click address in place, yes. And you're going to add that layer. Remind me later, thank you. All right, so here is our map. So we have successfully mapped 3 points, 3 Japanese gardens. Now, AGOL kind of intuits a little bit for you what you're sharing. It's telling you that it's picked out 3 different colors for this is Moses Lake, the Japanese Peace Garden not too far away from us. This is the ABQ Bio Garden in Albuquerque, and this is Anderson in Rockford, Illinois. Anderson Japanese Garden in Rockford, Illinois. Also, what AGOL has done here is it's asking you, well, what do you want these points to look like? So it's asking you a few things. Which attribute do you want to show? The name, the city, the object, or do you just want to show the location? Which one do you want to do? I'm just going to keep it at name. I like that. And then what you can do is you can come down here and click select for your symbol. So click options, click symbol. And then here's where, I mean, it would be really fun to find like something that has to do with like some sort of like a Japanese garden, I think would be really cool. Or some sort of like a Japanese symbology would be really neat if you could find something like that. They've also got letters there if you'd like to do that. We can go ahead and we can click stars. You can also make the size a little bit bigger down here. And you'll notice this is what your symbol is right here. And this is the actual size to give you an idea of what it looks like. So, oh, that looks about right. All right, so now we have changed all of our symbols and they're more uniform looking. Now we're going to go back. We're going to say done. All right, now guess what? When we hover over this layer, you're going to notice that yes, this is a shapefile. We've created an attribute table. So we click on the attribute table. You'll notice, yes, this is the data. This is the data that we put in. Now, in your map, you might be adding a point file, a line file, and a polygon file. You might be doing 1, you might be doing 2, 3. You can go ahead and get out of there. You'll also notice that if you would like to revisit the style or symbology, you can also click on what I'm circling right now. You can click on all the shapes, and that will bring you back into style and changing symbology and what you want these to look like. You can also click on the 3 dots, the option, and you can create a label if you want it to be a permanent label. Like, for example, this is the name of the garden. If you want it to be the state of the garden, if you want it to be the city, right? So now we know there's one in Albuquerque, there's one in, well, then we would have to change that font a little bit. We'd have to change it, maybe make it a little smaller. Maybe it's a little too big right now. So you can go in and change a few things there if you'd like to do that. You can also configure pop-ups. So if you don't want the label to be permanent, you can configure that when you scroll over it and click on it, something else would pop up rather than always having the label out there permanently. You also might decide once you've put in some of this information, you're like, no, maybe I just want to focus on the Japanese gardens in the Pacific Northwest, or, including Southern Canada. Maybe Western United States would be really cool. So at this point, it's completely up to you. So again, I want you to really have fun with this. And when you're thinking about it, keep it simple, keep it fun. And when it becomes not simple and not fun, start over, reach out to me, and we'll devise a plan moving forward. If you think you found something you like, send me a text. Say, hey, Angela, I was thinking about this. What are your thoughts? Where do you think I can find that data? I love doing this stuff. Let me know. And listen, the other thing is summer is busy, it's crazy, and it's beautiful. So if you find yourself overwhelmed, reach out to me. Let me know, okay? The most important thing is your learning. The most important thing is not being stressed. The most important thing is your learning. I want you to repeat that to yourself. So that's why we're all here. I know that's why I'm here. And I'm here for you. Remember that first and foremost. So keep it simple, have fun, and when in doubt, take a break and reach out. See you soon.